Big changes in the forecast just coming out from the Hurricane Center. We still have a tropical storm. The wind's still at 50 miles an hour, so it continues to struggle, but it is expected now to become a Category 1 hurricane in the next 4 to 5 days. It will have a big impact on Puerto Rico. That's the next island that it's watching. And we also have a new tropical storm that's Aaron to the north that I'll show you in a second. But all eyes on Dorian, as it has a lot of dry air on the southern side of this, so that's the reason it's having a difficult time getting above 50 miles an hour for the sustained winds. There's the latest forecast track, so we'll keep it at 50 tonight. It's now moving northwest at 13, and that trend is expected to continue the next 24 to 36 hours. So a landfall potentially around Puerto Rico tomorrow afternoon, and then working its way north toward the Bahamas and starting to strengthen again on Thursday evening, 65 mile an hour winds. Then a Category 1 hurricane, 75, that's Friday evening, 8 p.m. well to the east of the Bahamas, and then a turn back toward Florida. Why would it do that? The Bermuda High. It starts to strengthen again and push south. That drives this storm back in toward the coastline and becomes more of a threat to our area. And the models have been trending with the tracks a little farther north, and that brings the storm in around Daytona, around the Cape now, rather than just north of Vero, which was the position earlier tonight. It's a Category 1 hurricane at this point, but really, it's only 5 miles an hour stronger than it was earlier. So it's nice to see that trend with the tracks continuing to adjust to the north. Even though it's a little bit stronger, it's nice to get it a little farther away from our area, even though it's expected to have an impact here. There are the computer model tracks, and these will shift back and forth the next couple of days. But the trend the last 24 hours has been for most of these tracks to push north up toward the Jacksonville area. So we like that. Now, as far as the probability of seeing tropical storm force winds, here's through Saturday. So we're looking at about 10 to 20% along our coastline, much higher in the Bahamas. But into Sunday, those numbers climb, and they're higher than they were earlier. We're now looking at almost a 50-50 chance across our area, the highest around Vero. That'd be closer to the storm track. But these are significant, and this is why we have to monitor this closely. We are still in the error cone, and it's still a possibility that the storm track could continue to push south and waver back and forth. We're still 4 or 5 days out at this point. So one to monitor. And what are we looking at as far as impacts here? The outer bands would start to arrive later Saturday. Sunday would be heavy rain and some gusty winds, and then conditions slowly improve as we get into Monday. So definitely one to watch. Now, there are a couple of big hurdles on the way for this storm the next 24 hours. We're going to talk more about that, something that storms don't typically have to go through. More on that coming up in just a few minutes.